Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Thank you very much for joining me. Our patient is Asus Rampage 4 Black Edition. We took a look at this board before, right? The two sets of memory sticks have huge sockets, but I wasn't sure what this socket was. And you guys in the comments advised me that this is 2011 socket. To which I responded, are you sure this is 2011 socket, not 2011-3? And the person who responded, I wasn't sure, and said, well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is 2011-3. I was not. I was wrong. This is 2011. Now, the difference between those two sockets is not the size or anything. It's the exact same size, but see, the notch is on the other side, and likewise the notches inside over here, let's see, they're slightly shifted. All right, so it's pretty much almost the same socket, almost the exact same, but different enough that obviously it is not compatible. And here's the trick: if you don't know what socket it is, in some cases the socket is printed on the board, like in this case. If I only looked, I would know exactly what this socket is, LGA2011. But sometimes it's not printed on the board, but it's always printed somewhere on the side of the socket. This is LGA2011-3, right? So we could read, it's kind of hard to read on the board, but it can be done. Right, so if you're not sure which socket it is, yeah, don't be guessing like me, because since these come from China, you know, if I make a mistake and I order the wrong socket, then that's to correct that mistake. It's another 2 weeks or even more. Well, we've got 2011 sockets. Now, I've never worked on this one. It's huge. It's 58 millimeters across. That is pretty much the size of my heater, which means this is going to be tricky. I don't know if we'll be able to heat it up uniformly. We don't know how it's going to sit. Since my last board, a 1151 socket, which technically was a successful repair because, you know, the socket was replaced, nothing was melted or anything, but the board bulged a little. Two reasons for that, or one of two reasons. So number one suggestion that I get from you guys, especially my Polish friends, is that don't turn on the fan until you're done reflowing. That's why you have that little switch over there, right? The reason I was reluctant to use that to turn off the fan is that this makes it hard to replicate the results. Right. Not to mention, if you forget to turn it on, which I would in the past, because in the past I would manipulate with that. I would reflow without the fan and then turn on the fan. But of course, it happens that you forget to turn on the fan. I think that fan should be controlled by my software, but the machine doesn't allow that at this point. We'll see if we can figure something out to allow the software to control that fan. Turn it off when we're reflowing and turn it on when we're done. Now, number two, the preheating. In the last board, I didn't preheat as much as I normally preheat, and I think that was the problem. Typically, I preheat for 2 cycles, that is 10 minutes each, so 20 minutes, and I'm gonna preheat it for half an hour. But long preheating, then I will turn off the fan, and we'll see how that goes. We'll use the standard approach, 1 thermocouple in the back, 1 thermocouple in the front, and we'll be switching them around as need be to find the one that reads the temperature the best. Well, first of everything is hard. First 2011 socket, so wish me luck. Alrighty, now postmortem. The socket actually released very nicely, but it is slightly deformed, which is kind of typical, especially on AM5 sockets. Usually when I remove them, they get deformed during the removal. It kind of depends, but this one actually it let loose very nicely. I didn't have to like wait too long. I didn't have to like put any force or anything. It just popped off very nicely. No ripped pads or anything. But as I removed it, I couldn't really see because, you know, once the board is hot and you're in the process, it's kind of hard to see, but it looked to me like the board deformed. Look at this. See, this side is completely not soldered. See? But it's not soldered because it's hanging in the air, because it deformed. The board deformed here. The other three corners are fine, but this corner, look at this, and the board is being very flimsy now. Now, what is the issue with it? Is my heater not big enough? I wouldn't say so, because if it wasn't big enough, I would have problems removing the socket, right? And there were no problems removing the socket. Was the temperature too high? Well, let's see. I preheated for a long time, over half an hour. And as you can see, the bed temperature, that is it says bed temperature, it's actually the temperature of the heater, roughly. Didn't go over 240 because I was preheating on 160. All right, then I bumped it up to 210, I think. So as you can see, removal, that's the removal, and the whole process was done without the fan. Without the fan, you can see that we get a lot higher overshot, but it's within the spec. So it went around 5 degrees over. This is perfectly fine. It let loose over here, roughly somewhere over here. Then, as you can see, power looks good. Then we maintained the temperature for the cleaning and stuff, and that's when I noticed that I think it deformed, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell on the device. Then the socket replacement. We turned on over here. We turned on preheating. It started preheating all the way to 140. Yeah, almost 140. It was 130 something, 138, 136. So very good temperature. So we had a very good contact with the board. And the other thing, why is the temperature so high on this board, right, when I preheat and not on the other boards? This board is very flimsy, but we'll get to that in a second. And that's it. I don't know when the socket dropped. I'll review the footage later. But since when resoldering it, I noticed that one of the corners was hanging in the air, and I noticed that roughly somewhere here. That's why later I started playing with the thermocouple, like moving it and stuff. If it was all good, I wouldn't be even touching it, right? But again, the power, until I started playing with the thermocouple, here we have it spiked for a bit too long over here. It shouldn't be doing that, but as we can see over here, the power was perfectly fine, and the whole process was pretty much textbook. But this board is very flimsy. For a socket this size, I would expect the board to be a little thicker. Oh, and I forgot that we also have this coil over here broken. I just remembered we were going to fix that, but that is pretty much it. The board is just way too flimsy. This is something that I should look at in the future, because if the socket is huge and the board is so flimsy, I don't have the means to actually maintain a stable temperature for this long on my devices. That would require probably like pretty much reflow oven. So now I'm not gonna go in the direction of the reflow oven. I'm gonna keep using the infrared, but on these boards, it doesn't look like this can be performed on this machine. And I'm actually curious, what kind of machine would you need to replace the socket? The socket of this size, and on the board this flimsy. Typically the socket still solders on, but this one, it's not the temperature, it's not anything, it's just the board just deformed. And again, it didn't deform because of any errors in the process. The process went perfectly fine. I blame the board. Well, not a success, but at least the version 1.1 release candidate did great. The preheating with the pause worked perfectly fine. The process without the fan on the top heater seems to work just as well. It actually, if you do turn on the fan, the temperature on the thermocouple actually grows higher, not lower, especially at first, because all that hot air is now being pushed towards the thermocouple. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure which method is better. Unfortunately, I tried it without a fan on the new socket that I've never worked on before. So it's the results are kind of inconclusive at this point. But I think we have like 2 more boards coming in, and hopefully that's like AM5 sockets, because those work the best. AM5 1151. 1200, all those windowed sockets, also, it can be done, but I just prefer AM5. It just it's, for some reason, it's a lot easier to do AM5. But this is it. Thank you, fellas, very much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I shall see you guys in the next one.